Hi, I'm Mark. In New York City, 1905, missing a single morning shift could mean losing a day's pay, and falling behind on rent within a week. This city runs on fixed hours, daily wages, and tightly timed markets where food, fuel, and services must be paid for immediately, often with money earned the same day. Today, we follow an ordinary day to understand how New York functioned as a system, who it rewarded, who it constrained, and what daily life quietly demanded from millions of people who kept the city moving. Morning begins inside overcrowded tenement buildings where entire families sleep in single rooms divided by curtains or furniture rather than walls. Many apartments lack private bathrooms, forcing residents to plan their day around shared hallway toilets and water taps. Waking early is less about productivity and more about access to space, water, and time before queues form. Neighborhoods such as the Lower East Side wake block by block, shaped by language, origin, and trade rather than by wealth. Jewish, Italian, and Eastern European families cluster near factories, workshops, and docks to reduce travel time they cannot afford. Living close to work is not convenience, it is economic necessity enforced by long hours and limited transport. Factory workers prepare for shifts that often last 10 to 12 hours, with wages paid weekly or even daily depending on the employer. Breakfast is minimal, bread, leftover soup, or tea, chosen for speed and cost rather than nutrition. Missing the factory bell can mean losing both the shift and the day's income entirely. For many women, work begins at home long before paid labor starts elsewhere. Laundry, childcare, food preparation, and sometimes piecework sewing must be completed before the household disperses. Unpaid domestic labor quietly supports the city's workforce but remains invisible in wages and records. Street vendors begin setting up before sunrise, selling bread, produce, and newspapers to workers on tight schedules. Prices fluctuate daily based on supply arriving from rail lines and docks. These early transactions determine what many families will eat later that day. Children in 1905 occupy a divided world between school and labor. While compulsory education laws exist, enforcement varies by neighborhood and family income. Many children attend school irregularly, balancing lessons with paid or unpaid work that contributes directly to household survival. Not all labor starts at dawn. Clerks, accountants, and office workers begin their day later, reflecting a growing white-collar class tied to banks, insurance firms, and shipping companies. Their schedules offer more flexibility, but entry into these jobs depends heavily on education, language, and social networks. Horse-drawn streetcars and early electric trolleys define how quickly people can move across the city. Fares consume a noticeable portion of daily wages, forcing many to walk long distances. Transport is less about comfort than about controlling time in a city that demands punctuality. By late morning, wholesale markets near the docks and rail terminals reach peak activity. Meat, produce, and dry goods arrive from across the country, priced according to freshness and speed of delivery. These markets set the day's food economy, determining what retailers can afford to sell and what working families can buy. Dock workers load and unload cargo under strict time pressure, often hired by the day with no guarantee of continued work. Pay depends on strength, speed, and availability, creating constant competition among laborers. Injury or illness can immediately remove a worker from income without compensation. Small family-owned shops open their doors mid-morning, selling goods sourced hours earlier from wholesalers. Profit margins are narrow, forcing shopkeepers to work long hours for modest returns. Many families live above or behind their stores to reduce rent and oversight costs. Garment workshops accelerate production as orders must be completed before shipment deadlines. Workers, often women and teenagers, operate sewing machines in tightly packed rooms with limited ventilation. Payment is frequently based on output rather than hours, tying income directly to speed. Skilled trades such as carpentry, metalwork, and printing operate on structured hierarchies of apprentices, journeymen, and masters. Training takes years, but successful trades offer more stable income and social mobility. Entry often depends on family connections or ethnic networks. In Lower Manhattan, banks and brokerage houses operate in sharp contrast to industrial neighborhoods. Clerks process ledgers, payments, and shipping insurance that keep goods and capital moving. Decisions made here ripple outward, affecting wages, prices, and employment across the city. Rail terminals, streetcars, and freight wagons operate simultaneously, forming an interlocking transport system. Delays in one sector cascade into others, affecting factory output and market supply. Time becomes the city's most valuable shared resource. Hospitals, municipal offices, and public utilities maintain their own labor schedules independent of factories. Doctors, nurses, clerks, and maintenance staff support services essential to urban survival. These institutions stabilize the city but remain accessible unevenly across class lines. Late morning is the last opportunity for many households to purchase fresh food before prices rise or supplies thin. Meals are planned daily, shaped by wages earned that morning. Refrigeration is rare, making timing essential for nutrition and cost control. By early afternoon, factory floors operate at maximum speed as supervisors push to meet daily output targets. Noise, heat, and repetitive motion dominate the environment, increasing fatigue and accident risk. Productivity is monitored closely, tying wages and job security to constant physical performance. Many families rely on piecework completed at home to supplement factory wages. Payment is calculated per item, not per hour, pushing entire households into production roles. Children and elderly relatives often participate, blurring the boundary between home and workplace. Lunch is brief and utilitarian, often eaten on factory floors or nearby sidewalks. Meals consist of inexpensive, filling foods chosen for calorie density rather than pleasure. Breaks are short, reinforcing the rhythm of continuous labor. Street cleaners, water inspectors, and maintenance crews operate largely unnoticed, preserving basic sanitation and infrastructure. Their labor prevents disease and disruption but receives little recognition or security. City health depends heavily on these invisible roles. Hospitals and clinics treat injuries sustained earlier in the day, often related to industrial accidents. Access to care depends on charity, employer support, or public services. Medical treatment can mean recovery or permanent loss of earning ability. Commercial offices remain active, processing shipping documents, payrolls, and insurance claims. Decisions made here shape supply chains and employment conditions far beyond office walls. The city's economic pulse is coordinated through paperwork and schedules. Physical distance between neighborhoods reflects economic inequality. Wealthier districts offer quieter streets, cleaner air, and larger living spaces. Working-class areas absorb the noise, waste, and congestion generated by the city's productive core. As afternoon advances, pressure increases to complete quotas before closing hours. Supervisors enforce pace through oversight rather than incentives. Physical exhaustion becomes an accepted cost of employment. Schools dismiss children in mid-afternoon, releasing them back into neighborhoods shaped by labor demands. Some return home, others to work or caregiving duties. Education competes directly with economic necessity. Streetcars and rail lines experience another surge as shifts end at different times across industries. Congestion reflects staggered labor schedules rather than synchronized routines. Movement through the city remains tightly bound to work cycles. Evening does not arrive at the same hour for everyone. Factories, workshops, and offices release workers on staggered schedules shaped by contracts and demand. The city transitions gradually rather than collectively, as labor cycles unwind at different speeds. Evening markets serve those paid late or unable to shop earlier in the day. Selection is narrower and prices less flexible, reflecting leftover supply rather than abundance. Food access remains directly tied to work schedules and cash on hand. Homes fill again as families reunite briefly before sleep. Cooking is simple and repetitive, constrained by fuel costs and limited storage. Evening meals prioritize sustenance over comfort. Theaters, music halls, and lecture rooms open their doors to those with disposable income and energy remaining. Attendance varies sharply by class, with ticket prices excluding many workers. Culture becomes both escape and divider. Pubs, cafes, and street corners function as informal social centers. Conversation replaces rest, offering temporary relief from isolation and fatigue. These spaces provide connection without requiring wealth. For many women, evening brings another round of labor rather than rest. Cleaning, mending, and preparing for the next day extend work well into the night. The cycle repeats without formal recognition or compensation. In wealthier districts, evenings follow different rhythms. Dinner is formal, homes are spacious, and time is buffered from economic pressure. Distance from industrial zones offers both physical and social insulation. Gas lamps illuminate major streets while side alleys remain dim. Lighting influences safety, commerce, and movement after dark. Access to light reflects municipal priorities rather than universal need. As businesses close, households prepare for limited nighttime security. Doors are locked early, and windows secured against noise and intrusion. Rest becomes a calculated necessity rather than comfort. As many residents prepare to sleep, another workforce begins its shift. Bakers, print workers, transit staff, and dock crews operate through the night to prepare the city for morning. Their labor remains largely unseen but structurally essential. Police patrols focus on commercial districts and transit routes rather than residential alleys. Law enforcement prioritizes property and commerce over personal safety. Protection is uneven, shaped by economic importance. Sleep occurs in crowded rooms with limited ventilation. Noise from streets and neighboring apartments continues through the night. Rest is fragmented, shaped by the city's density. In New York City, 1905, daily life is structured by time, wages, and access rather than choice. The city rewards those positioned near capital and stability while extracting labor from those closest to survival. An ordinary day reveals not comfort or progress, but a system finely balanced on human effort.